Join us tonight as we take a look into the esoteric with the third degree from Abnormal Truth. Here's AT himself.
What's going on, guys? This is AT doing a little something new today. This is the first ever episode of the third degree where we're just going to talk about everything strange in this world that we live in. And so my channel has pretty much been a Mandela effect only channel. I have done other subjects, but basically I talk to Exhibit a lot, and every subject I bring up he knows about, and we just have so much fun talking about these kind of things. I was like, dude, we need to do a show every once in a while. So we're just doing this for fun, and we're going to talk about different subjects every time we do a new show. And it could be anything from Bigfoot to, is the space station real? So
That's
what are we
right.
going to that's right. And so what are we going to talk about tonight?
All right. Tonight, the first thing we're going to be looking at is Mandela effects, believe it or not. We're going to be talking about a little bit about false positives and this new Mandela effect that I ran across today, supposed quote unquote Mandela effect of hovering planes. So if you want, I'll just go ahead and give you the lowdown on what we're looking at here. So let me just.
Yeah, I am not clued in on the hovering planes much, so.
Well, allow me to show you. Okay, so I've got this video queued up. We'll just have a look at that real fast. I'll just make sure that there's no sound with this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to let the video just speak for itself. I'll do a little bit of narrating here. Okay, this is, for one, really, really bad frame rate here. But they're going to bring it up here in just a minute. You'll see it in just a second, where these planes sort of appear to stop in mid-air. And they're calling this a Mandela effect. And I thought that was extremely odd to call this a Mandela effect where these planes are stopping. Now, I'm not saying that these are 100% true, untampered with video here. These are just examples of this phenomena that's been happening. But as you
see, is this the only video out there of this phenomena, or is this kind of a thing where more people are actually doing? Is there like 100 videos of this on YouTube or what?
There's not a ton of them, but I can say that I have actually seen this phenomena with my own two eyes when I was in Florida about 15 years ago, where a plane just appeared to be just completely still, not moving above my head. Not to this extent. This plane was moving sideways in the air. I don't know about this.
I kind of consider myself somewhat of a Mandela effect, knowledgeable person in that area, and I'm not sure how they're calling that a Mandela effect. Do you know what they're saying? Why? What's the reasoning? Is the best way to ask that.
The only thing that they're saying is that they didn't used to do this. And I just don't see this as a Mandela effect. I'm sorry. This is more of a phenomena, if anything, if it's even real, these photos or videos. Just another case of, me too. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of here is there's so many of these Mandela effects that are not Mandela effects. Some of them fall under cryptozoology. And
Oh, hold on. You just said something that was awesome. Okay, so were you referring to Mandela minerals, or I don't know how you want to say that, Mandanimals is
Right.
what I call them. Yeah, and you're right. I had never thought about that. That actually fall well. It would be Mandela effect cryptozoology. I mean, because if these new species are popping up, then that's still some kind of eh, dimensional shift or something, you know?
Right.
I don't know. That's strange. But it seems like everything's a Mandela effect now. And I honestly don't know if the Mandela effect's getting worse or the definition of a Mandela effect is being blown out of proportion, even through either shields or just human nature. But from what I always understood a Mandela effect was something that we actually saw and remembered, and it was a well-known thing. It could be pop culture or whatever,
I agree.
or yeah. And so to me, that was always the definition of a Mandela effect. And at some point, the Mandela effect kind of blew up all over the internet. And so a lot of people have channels out. I watch a lot of channels. There's a lot of good Mandela effect channels out there,
Oh yeah,
but there are a
lots.
lot of them. There's a lot of them. You kind of get lost now. There's so many. But I don't know. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I just, and like I said, I want to repeat that. I think that's important. I'm not sure if the Mandela effect is actually widening in its scope of its possible effects, or is it people blowing it out of proportion and calling all anything that's time travel, anything that's related to different dimensions and stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. Anything that has to do with another dimension or another reality or time travel, they'll call it a Mandela effect. And to me, the Mandela effect is a more specific phenomena. But I could be wrong if the Mandela effect is actually expanding, and that's a bad thing if it's if it's getting
Personally,
worse.
personally, I think a lot of these are just piggybacking, so to speak, on the words Mandela effect. They know that those get hits, and so we're seeing like everything come up as Mandela effect now because those get views, those get attention, and I think that's sort of what I'm seeing here. Because
I think
honestly,
you got a point. I think you got a point.
I mean, honestly, these like planes that seem to be stopping in midair, like I said, I've seen with my own eyes. I've actually seen this happen, and it could be an optical illusion. It could be a myriad of things. It could be a holographic projection from
Let's
UFOs.
let's focus on that for a minute before I don't want that to get lost.
Right.
Uh, so I mean, to me, the Mandela effect is not going to just freeze a plane in the air. I'm sorry, but I don't see how that is classified as a Mandela effect. I just
Right.
don't.
I totally
Uh,
agree.
And when I first saw this video that you have up, I'm thinking holographic projection, or obviously this plane isn't real. But why I think holographic projection automatically is that it's like a malfunction. It means that that plane isn't real and it is fake somehow, and whatever was supposed to be making it look like it was going through the sky failed, and somebody hit pause on it basically, right? And
Right.
it's just sitting up there in the air. Now, there's all kind of exotic explanations you could think of, right? Through,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But really, you almost sometimes have to go down and see what may be the most simplest paranormal abnormal events? You know what I mean? What would be the most simplest answer within that realm, you know?
I would
And
say that, if I were to take if I were to take the skeptical view, which I always like to consider, um, optical illusion. Yeah, it could be that. It could be that. Obviously, I said there wasn't a whole lot of videos of this. Obviously, I'm wrong. These things go back all the way to 2007 on some of these videos that we're seeing here, and this is like a
what year was yours again?
15. Let me see. It's probably even further back than that. Probably about 20 years ago. It was.
See, that's the long time.
And when
Who
I
all's
saw
with
it,
you?
oh, it was a giant group of friends and a couple adults, and down in Florida, I was on a backpacking trip down to Ocala, and I stopped at a grocery store to pick up supplies, and it was actually a military jet up in the sky, just sitting there.
Check this out. I just thought of this from what you were saying, and you got check this out. Okay, my grandfather passed away a little over a year ago, and I all my family are not, you know, paranormal orientated, right?
Right.
But I don't care. I think I've asked them all if they've ever experienced anything in their life that was out of the ordinary. And I asked my grandfather this. Now, my grandfather was a very salt of the earth kind of guy. He owned a plumbing business and owned it his whole life. He was the kind of guy that would grow his garden, and and so he's very nonsensical guy.
Right.
But he was also a pilot, and just a private pilot, right? He wasn't a pilot in the commercial sense. And I asked him, and check this out. This is blowing my mind. The only time he ever experienced anything in his long life that was weird was he was up in a plane flying, and the clouds did not move. So he's been a pilot for a while, and he was up there in the sky, and he kept looking down. And it was the same clouds.
Man.
And what's trippy is that was my grandpa up in the sky in one of those planes a long time ago that was frozen in midair.
Man. I tell you. And coming from somebody who's not, into,
Oh
conspiracy or
no,
that is really,
old school guy.
no
All the
paranormal going
way.
on there. No interest, just notice something strange.
And
That
he
is
said that was
amazing.
the only thing that ever happened to him.
And you can't really just explain that away. I mean, unless the clouds were moving with him at the same speed that he was flying
Ru-
at, which is unreal.
Right. I mean, he was in a little four-passenger plane, because I went up a few times with him. And so yeah, I just thought might be interesting because I've actually just kind of put that together while we were talking about it. So maybe to close this subject up, I'm thinking that it's fake. Those planes, because holographic planes have been around for a while, right? Did you know about that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
some people were saying, yeah, and they've had pictures of them, and they were kind of see-through. They were transparent, kind
Right.
of.
And
So
some
is
people
that
are claiming that they're cloaked spacecraft or what have you.
well, if there are UFOs up there, they definitely would have the technology to make their ship look like a airplane if they wanted to.
If they can fly from one
Hmm.
galaxy to another, that's not out of the possibility, I would say.
So I guess we could move on to this unless you had something else to say about it. But that is very interesting, and I'm calling hologram.
All
My
right.
gut, my gut, and that's it. I'm not saying I know. I can't fly up there and take a look at one of these planes standing still in midair, right?
Right.
And who knows if the videos are even,
Yeah, they could be.
not.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, these could be
they could be
completely.
fake.
This could be completely
Right.
fake.
But we're looking at all these kind of things that because there's more than one instance of that. You know what I mean? It's kind of a thing. We should look at it and see if it's got any validity.
That's right, man. All right, next up, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Antarctic situation, and there have been some tiny developments, nothing major going on in that area. The same stuff that we've been hearing, and saw some interesting photos and stuff, and nothing crazy. But I would like to at least touch on that subject and see what we can get out of that. Maybe we can find the answers. I pretty much doubt it, but we can give it a try.
All right, what you got on the Antarctica?
All
I can
right.
tell you real quick. I can tell you that I think it's weird that a lot of big wigs have been to Antarctica. That's the biggest first red flag I remember hearing about this subject. And this is hot right now. I mean, there are a lot of channels are talking about this. It's almost like they have leaked out this this whole thing to me. That's how popular it is. I'm not. I'm skeptical. I know there's something going on down there.
Yes, no
But I
doubt.
think but I do think that they would never tell us the whole story, so I'm always, you know what I mean?
All
But
right.
there's got to be something going on down there for sure. Anyway, go ahead.
I think the biggest thing about Antarctica is the fact that, like, let's say you and me, you and I, we get in a plane and we go, hey man, let's go to Antarctica. Let's check it out for ourselves. The minute our foot hits that ice, we're gonna be escorted back. It's because you and
Yeah, they
I,
don't let you go there
right?
unless you go on
Exactly.
this tour that's an overpriced, doesn't look fun to me kind of a trip. And they don't you can't just go take off on a jet ski or whatever and go the hell where you want to. It's
Right.
it's 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 controlled, and you stay in those little tents for a bunch of money a night. And even the ride there in the boat, you cannot smoke, you cannot pollute or throw any trash or nothing. Even if a seagull swoops down and takes your food off of the deck, you'll be fined or something for it. I mean, you have to take a class just for that trip there in the boat. And so, yes, it's a big time fact. Look it up if you don't believe it. You can't go see what's in Antarctica. You can go there in the places they'll let you go and the places they'll let you be.
You're totally correct. I mean, they got a clamp down on that. I mean, just complete clamp down. I mean, you and I, we can't go there. Period.
Have you seen the prices of the trips to Antarctica? And then I'm not sure they'll just let anybody go.
Oh, I know they won't. And plus, you have to go. I think you have to make a stop in was it New Zealand or Australia? I can't remember which one it is, but you have to go there first before you go there. They won't even allow you to go like take a straight flight there. You have to go somewhere else first. And then once you go there, then they'll allow you to go down there.
So what seems to be the main conclusion on what's going on down there? Like what's the consensus on that? And, basically why do you think that like there's been some holy people there. There's been some of our politicians here in the United States go down there. You know, it's kind of strange. And then they release it on the news, so I'm thinking they could get those people down there in secret if they wanted to, right? I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
come on,
you'd never
just
even know they left.
didn't Gore go down there? Was he?
Believe it was. Here's what I do know: the equivalent of the Russian Pope. I know he
Right.
went there.
Not the Pope, but I didn't realize there was also a Russian Pope.
I also heard that the actual Pope went. Now I don't have any actual, anything to back that up because I didn't actually see the Pope standing down there. So I just heard that somewhere. Um, it,
I
it,
think Gore went down there right before this election, like the day before, because that sticks out in my memory that he went there, and that's a very strange time to go. And maybe I'm getting the person wrong, but one of our politicians went down there the day before the election.
oh,
And so
that
anyway,
was um,
yeah, it may not have been Gore.
Biden, maybe
What? Well,
Biden.
anyway, we got a lot of people in high positions going down to Antarctica. So, I mean, there's got to be something going on. But I was just trying to make the point that I think it's suspicious of how this is coming out. I get the deception vibe. I get the planted story vibe from all of this, and it may just be me. But you see what I'm trying to say? It just seems a little like the story was leaked out. And then you have um who is it good? What's his first name? And you got David Wilcox kind of
Oh
teaming
yeah,
up with him. What was his name? Something good. He's got a really elaborate story about going to Antarctica and basically seeing alien technology down there.
right.
And every time they're talking about it, they at least say once that they think that they're just going to say it was an ancient civilization and they're not going to tell the public that it was alien.
Well, there's so many, theories about what's going on. I've heard everything from the black goo being found in Antarctica. If you don't know what that is, make sure you check that out, guys. But what they call sentient fluids or liquids, which of course these are just theories, and hell, we don't even know if sentient fluid actually exists because I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's
But
what's so crazy. What sometimes you kind of have to weed through when you're trying to figure it out. The
right,
honest thing is nobody knows because we can't go down there and really check it out. I mean,
right. My
they would.
personal theory, though, is they have found something. It is Earth, just well, Earth shattering, not literally, but I mean they have found something there, and it was big enough for those guys to go down there publicly and just say, hey, you know what? I think I'm gonna go visit Antarctica where it's 150 below zero, and just check it out. I make $300,000 a year, and I got a tie and a suit, but I'm gonna go check out Antarctica. That's weird, man. But
Well, do you see where, like, you saw the picture? Who was it? I always forget. It was one of the astronauts that went down there. Um,
Aldrin.
Aldrin, they just had, professional shots of him, in the ice. You see what I'm saying? That's a planted story. You know what I mean? They want you to know that, and that's what raises a flag.
Right.
You see
And
how fake that is? Because there were pictures of him, and it was in the news that he was down there, and they even talked about how he had a heart attack and stuff or heart problems. Like he saw something down there that shook him up so bad he had medical problems.
right. And I mean, it's just weird, man. I mean, there's something off about it, and we could throw our theories out there. Mine personally is they found something really really big, whether that be a lost civilization, whether that be alien technology. I do have something to back mine up. there is a giant magnetic pool, down in Antarctica, and that supposedly, no, this is of course hearsay, pulls on the trajectory of satellites. They have to actually adjust the vector of the satellites that are going around, geosynchronous or whatever. They have to adjust for it because it'll pull them out of their orbit. It's a giant magnetic pull there. So, that means there's something there that's generating gravity. And that's pretty, substantial. And
That's one thing that seems to be true though. The true North Pole or whatever, I don't think they let us. I don't think they're letting us see what's there. I mean, there's talk about in the ancient times that there was a big tree there, and
uh,
lots of different religions. And I would not put it past them because they could mark any place out there in the snow, take you out there on an all-day trip and in one of those snow buggy things, and plant you down and bring you to that pole thing. And I don't know, there's just something up with all that.
if I understand it
But
right, the actual South Pole is not where they got the pole, is not where it actually is.
well, doesn't it change? And then it depends on what pole you're talking about. But it's I think it is probably an ancient civilization because here's how I'm looking at that. I don't know, I can't travel down there. But I think the most likely thing that would be in Antarctica is an ancient civilization because it's probably looks like it probably flash froze, maybe the earth just tilted and once was a tropical area, it got slammed into a colder region at the South Pole
Right.
and just flash froze everything. And there definitely could be cities lying under all that ice. There's some parts that are what 2 or 3 miles thick at least.
Yep.
On our, yeah, I mean it's covered up pretty well. So they found something, but here's my prediction: they're going to eventually, and they probably found it a long time ago.
Right. They
I
did.
think, but I think eventually this would be them just trying to leak it out so that one day they can say, "Hey, we found a little something down here."
Right.
That's my prediction.
I don't think you're too far off. I really don't. Well, we could guess all day on this one, but we'll have to move on to the next topic. Um, unless you have something you'd like to add to it.
Nope.
All right. Let's move on to the next one.
It's too cold down there for me.
Yeah, man. All right. All right. We're
I'm
seeing
not going down there to find out. I know that much.
we're seeing a rise in UFO activity, or I've been noticing anyway. Actually noticed it with my own two eyes here where I live. Over the course of the last 6 months, I've seen at least 3 sightings, and most recent being probably about 3 days ago. So that was pretty recent. And
I don't think I heard about the one that was 3 days ago. Did I?
no, this is all new right here.
All right, well let's get a little bit more into the topic. We'll go. I might even tell one I saw or something. So
All right,
okay,
so
here's my question. First off, the UFOs have there has been a rise in UFO activity for the last umpteen years. Are you saying that here lately there has been within a short time, like last year or the year before, it has really exponentially grown?
I believe that it has. I think over the last year, it seems to have increased. According to what I'm always looking up. I mean, that's just what I do. I mean, I'm not a UFO chaser or anything. I'm not, I don't do it professionally or what have you. But the study of them is needed. I mean, and you would know this since you looked at them yourself. I mean, you chase. How long did you chase them for?
Oh, I would say a couple of years there that I had a friend that I would go out and we had a nice place that was it's like a grass pallet farm and there were no trees for a long way. So we had and it was in the country. So, we didn't have the city lights. We had a good view of the sky. And basically we would also go out there anytime there was a meteor shower or anything like that.
Right.
It was just something to do. Wasn't much to do out there. And we knew of this place. We could go out there and have a great view of the sky, usually never get bothered. But we also brought all the cameras and stuff like that we had. All right. So, yeah, that's basically we did that for a couple of years, and like I said, especially if there was a meteor shower or any kind of thing like that happening, we went out there to observe those kind of things too. And we saw one really kind of close UFO sighting, which I won't go into now, but it was the kind that it was close enough where you could see the belly of the craft.
Right.
But the other one was a weird that won't take long to tell. We saw this sparkle up in the sky. Now this could actually be explained by maybe like a satellite, but since it was maybe I don't know, I'm not good with the degrees, but this thing was like 60 degrees off the horizon, right? Like the satellite should have been at a lower angle. I don't know. But if somebody said if the satellite, is turning and like that metal shines off the sun or whatever, it can cause that kind of like a flash.
Right.
But this was, and I'm just trying to tell you what all the I'm trying to think of all the like obvious stuff, but this looked more like in Star Trek Star Trek when they would go into hyperdrive or whatever, that graphic that they would do.
Right.
It was all blue and it kind of puffed out. It was like that. And I don't really see how a reflection off of a satellite would do that. And then, furthermore, the friend I had with me was just a straight up genius geek. And he went out and found the website that you could track the satellites with and all that. And then he got the direction we were looking in and he figured out that there were no satellites there. See, so
Ah.
you know what I mean? So my real thing though is I studied UFOs since I was 6. I mean I got my first UFO book at a book fair, and I've been looking into it for many 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 years, and I'm blown away with some of these UFO videos that are coming out on a regular basis all the time. You know, I mean, it's almost scary to watch them.
Yeah, I know. There's more. I would say there's just more and more evidence coming out every single day, and
All across the world.
all across the world. With everybody's got a cell phone now. Something happens, it comes out. They're hitting that. They could find that record button in the dark. There's no way that this is not going to happen anymore. So we're getting tons and tons and tons and tons of more evidence. You just cannot ignore it. Now, nobody claims to know exactly what they are. And if they do know exactly what they are, then they're either privy to something that us normal people are not, or they're just talking out their ass, to be perfectly honest. But
I think though that I've narrowed it down to 4 or 5 probable, you know what I mean? And it's not just me. I think that's kind of like if you look at all the theories, there's 4 or 5 main ones.
right.
And it, like you said, though, it's impossible to really distinguish which one's really happening. But and real quickly, one of them would be time travelers, and that seems for many years that seemed kind of far fetched. But if you really look into that subject, it does kind of make sense that we could end up looking like that, and that could be us from the future. Because assume that we can do anything, right?
Right.
Give us enough time without us killing each other or whatever. I think if we're given enough time, probably will achieve that at some point. And if you assume that, then you got to assume that we went back at some point. So and it could be the case that it's both, but I'm not sure if we have that much kind of crazy phenomena happening at the same time. Like if there were actually extraterrestrials coming here, or and also on top of that, we're time traveling and coming back and seeing ourselves, and we also have UFOs. It just, you know, I think the simplest is for the most part, it's one or the other. And then I left off one more thing. It could be, and some of them are our craft up there.
Absolutely.
But but I gotta say, since I brought that up, that does not mean that's all of the UFOs. UFOs have been seen way back in the past. So anyone who thinks that all of those UFOs are human-made craft, I think are wrong. Just study ain't the oldest UFO sightings you can, and you'll see that it goes way back, way before it goes Alexander the Great during one of his campaigns in a battle taking over a city. This was recorded on both sides. Both of them record a silver shield coming down, swooping down, and blasting out a part of the wall, allowing Alexander to go through.
Right.
So it's something that's been going on for a long time, but then at the same time, it's not unbelievable that we have mastered anti-gravity and they're flying around in those things and they don't let us have it.
Didn't Alexander actually claim that this was more than that happened more than once?
I'm not sure about that. That would be a new one on me.
I thought he
But
was. I may be mixing this up with a different story, but
or I'm thinking the UFO swooped down twice in the same battle, but I only ever remember one battle happening. And I'm sorry I don't remember the name of the city and everything, but I'm kind of a generalist. But I think we both are. We just kind of look into everything. An
right,
expert in nothing, you know.
right.
But I think I just remember that one. And Alexander the Great, there might have been something abnormal about that gentleman, you know. Um, I would like to really go back and see if he was actually human or what, because he seemed to achieve a lot.
Yes, he did.
Very, very
Abnormally.
mysterious. Yeah, he did. He went and conquered everybody he wanted to. Let's talk about some of these UFOs real quick. I don't know how much time we have left. I could go, however long, we could do it. But exactly what are we looking at up here? I don't think I've seen this one. It's
These are the latest UFO footage, June 2nd, 2017. These are by UFO Update. Please check out their channel and subscribe. I'm not saying that any of these are real or anything, but these are stuff that they put out here, and I just happened to catch that it was the latest ones. If they're latest, I don't know. I mean, these could be old. There's angels in the sky. There's whatever you can see here. UFO.
that's awesome.
So
That's cool. Even if that's just clouds, it's still cool.
yeah, I
Uh,
know.
I love my angels. They're, we need them.
I mean, look, we can look at Fatima all day long. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
I've been touching on that in my spare time, that's kind of coming up some more.
I mean, I'm not. This is another difference that we have. I'm not a religious person. AT is, but I don't close my mind to it. So I mean, Fatima is probably the most fascinating case of what it was, Mary, Mother Mary appearing before people and in mass. I mean, just huge crowds of people, and how can you dispute
What,
that?
did you just see that though?
It's crazy, wasn't it?
I have not seen that one. Does it look? Are you getting the CGI feel off that, or what? Because red flag that's pretty spectacular, right?
That doesn't look
So,
CGI to me. Let me back that up. All right, let me get it
so
forward
to
here.
me, the more fantastic and the clearer the UFO is, you gotta raise your flag there, because that's a spectacular shot at who somebody got if that's real.
Let's just hope that this is not like somebody throwing a rock. That's quite large. Whatever hits, that's putting off a massive wave. Let me see if I can get that to where it was the first time around here.
X, it's different watching UFOs nowadays. I mean, it's appalling at how many there are. It's constant. These things, whether or not a few of these videos are actually real or not, there's still so many of these going on that you just can't deny that something is flying around up there, and they're in large numbers, and they've been here for a very long time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't. How can you dispute that there's all this out there? I mean, this one in particular, I've never seen either, but I saw it right before it hit the water, and that's what I was trying to get it to stop on. I was trying to get it to move slower. See if I can get it to stop. Right there. This is a double because of the frames, but it looks like your almost like your classic 1950s top hat design. The
Oh
way
yeah.
old school. And if that's an actual object and not, CGI, which I don't see any evidence of it unless they superimpose something on top of it. But
Well, that's what's hard about it now. It's if the it doesn't matter how good your UFO video is, it's not going to prove that they're up there. You know what I'm trying to say?
oh yeah,
That's the sad thing about it. But I'm telling you, this kind of video right there, I just don't know. It's just too good to be true. I
yep.
mean, almost every time it's just lets you down if somebody goes in there and really tears it up and looks at it.
That could be
Um,
waste coming off of an airplane.
you're right. And
You never know. You never know. I mean, some of these, like I said,
unidentified funky object.
okay, that one, funky. That is fake. That was completely fake.
I think I've seen that one, and I agree.
I mean, that
Yeah.
is. Oh, come on, really?
Yeah, that one's been out a while, I think, if that's the same one. Are they Russian or something?
I can't
I
really
think
hear
they
him.
are.
Let me
Yeah.
see if I can get some audio real fast. Yep, they're Russian.
Yeah, I've seen that one. You're
They,
right. I was like, yeah, right.
they were just waiting for a helicopter for some reason, and we're like, hey, you know what? Be fun. Let's pretend that a UFO hit the water. Oh, I've seen this too. That's CG.
Oh, I want to know your opinion on that right there that's on the screen.
This one I
'Cause
think is CG, maybe.
it looks almost, I mean, it looks total CGI to me. But somehow it's a tad bit convincing. I don't know what it is about it. It's like this little gnawing thing that makes me look at it. So I think it's a hoax. a part of it really looks animated or something to me.
Right,
Maybe it's just because the camera is supposed to be old or something, right? I mean, this
right.
looks like a 50s camera, a 60s. I don't
I
know.
gotta say, the motion of the arm and the head of done animating,
That's why I asked.
it looks like keyframe animation. That's what it looks like.
All
The
right,
blinking.
do you know the other video that's been out for a long time where the um EB or whatever you want to call him, the alien, the
Yes.
gray, is in the darker room? What do you think about that one? Because it does look a tad bit puppety, but also I don't know how an alien is supposed to naturally do his mannerisms and carry themselves, you know? So that one's always messed with my mind.
The one thing about that one that immediately red flag is it's in a dark room.
Right.
And I'm
Which
like,
helps. Which
yeah.
helps if you're deceiving. But then again, maybe the alien doesn't like bright lights.
Well, they better get used to it if their crafts
Out.
brighten up like the way they do.
And if they're outside ever during the daytime.
Right. That might not be such a good idea.
Or I guess to them, what side of the planet they're on. Yeah.
They have built-in sunglasses anyway, man.
That's true. They got them thick black contact lenses that
Yeah, they do, man.
all kinds of stuff, probably.
All right. So, just to wrap this one up, I'll give you my last UFO sighting of the third one in
You
6 months.
Oh, you got a good one?
Yeah.
Oh, your side.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm a night owl, and I'm outside at, believe it or not, 4 o'clock in the morning. I have a dog, which you may hear him every once in a while, and there's nothing I can do about that. He has his own mindset about barking and snoring, so there you go. So I'm taking him outside, and I just happened to see this streak go across the sky. That's not abnormal. I've seen many shooting stars before, and I thought, wow, that was, a shooting star here. Just must have went across the sky right then. And it was only out of the corner of my eye. So I started looking up, looking around, and I'm usually always looking up anyway. But, because it's 4 o'clock in the morning, what else are you gonna do? So, so my dog's doing his business out there, and then immediately, maybe 10 seconds later, this crazy bright light. I'm sorry, that video is freaking me out, man.
Pause that because I gotta ask you or something about that one, and I'm concentrating on your story. So definitely pause that because that's killing me. I'm like, I've never seen that. That's not the old alien autopsy because I was gonna bring that up.
I
That I
know.
have not seen, but we got to carry on with your story. Now, the dog was outside doing his business. That's the last
Right.
thing I remember.
We are going to come back to that in just a
come back
second.
exactly, but we got to get your story here. So the
All
dog
right.
was doing her business.
And I saw the shooting star, what I thought was a shooting
Right.
star. So I'm looking up in that general direction. And then I see a bright yellow light start getting bigger in the distance. And it's coming across the sky at an alarming rate. And I'm not talking about like meteor speed here. We're talking slower than that, but way faster than anything I've ever seen up in the sky besides, regular UFOs or whatever.
Wow. And this was when?
About 3 days ago,
Wow. All right.
the 13th of June. And so this thing is just hauling across the sky. It's directly in front of me. And it ends at 90 degrees right above my head and just vanishes. And I thought, and it had a little tail on the back of it. And I thought, what is this, space junk or something? I mean, I've seen lots of things.
Like a trail of fire, a little tail of fire, or like, heat from
Heat.
entering the atmosphere kind of.
Yeah, like that.
Well, I saw one about 2 years ago in Texas in the country. I was driving home, and I thought it was a shooting star, but then I could actually see that it dropped straight down, like it was coming down at an arc, and I was like, "Whoa!" And then and I thought, okay, probably a shooting star or whatever. But then at some point it lost velocity and just started going straight down. I'm trying to say it's kind of hard to describe, but it was coming in at an arc like a regular shooting star would, but then it lost velocity rather quickly and then
Right.
just dropped straight down. And you could see it even though it was at night. And you can imagine that's a weird sight. So I'm guessing that was space junk maybe because it re-entered the atmosphere and maybe burned up just enough for the rest of it to just fall down. I don't know. Seemed impossible though, right? It all the other shooting stars I've ever seen or anything like that, they're just like shoo, in the same trajectory and they're the same velocity really quick, you know. But I don't know what I was seeing dropping down, losing velocity, and it lost its angle at some point and just went straight downward. And it didn't do it for long. It burned out or disappeared, but it did look like it burned out but at some point it dropped straight down.
Oh, mine actually, it actually freaked me out a little bit because it was directly in front of me. At whatever I think 20 degrees, and it ended at 90 above my head. Uh,
Like directly above your head?
Directly, but
Could you
thousands of miles. I mean, not thousands of miles, thousands of feet above. But
it's so hard to tell how high something is at night, you know?
no
It really
sound.
is.
But I mean, I'm not saying it was an alien spacecraft. I'm saying that it's the classic UFO, unidentified. And
You didn't get that on video?
no, I didn't.
It's
Cause
hard. It's hard, okay? It is hard, and especially if you've never seen one. I think that's not your first sighting, right?
no, actually, that's let me see. I've had lots of sightings. I wouldn't say it was more than a normal average person, but not like I go outside every time and see one. I've seen maybe 15 in my entire life, and some of them extraordinary, some of them not so extraordinary. But this is what I'm talking about, the increase in activity. I've had 3 out of those 15 in the last 6 months, and I find that incredibly
Oh,
odd.
so for you personally, the UFO sightings are increasing.
Yes, I've noticed it, and I've also been seeing a lot more videos coming out, getting into
Oh,
that.
it's crazy. I don't see how you could look into UFOs with an objective mind and decide that they're not out there.
I
I just
know.
don't see it. I mean, and the frequency is alarming of what's going on here on a monthly basis. So this video, do you know anything about this video or
I don't have a clue what this is. I really don't. I
it
thought it
looks
was alien
fake?
autopsy.
I'm calling fake and I haven't even watched it. It just I don't know.
That mouth tore me up, though.
It did. That's what got very. You were trying to tell your story, and they pulled his tongue out,
Is that
and
quivering? Look at it. Or is that just the video itself?
can tell you that it would be rather expensive to make something like this.
If that
Just
is silicone, that's
wow,
amazing.
right? And then even the old alien. Oh no, I hate that.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know. It looks.
are they gonna take the lens out? No, this is fake. Oh no, what is he gonna have?
Uh,
Oh, I was expecting slit eyes like a cat. So I don't know. I'm calling
yeah, that's definitely silicone. or silicon, however you want to say it. That
So
looks like
this one
silicon.
I've seen. The Russian, I'm assuming it's Russian.
Yes,
And this disc that's halfway in the ground, kind of on a tilt. I
it's
mean, I don't
amazing
know.
footage.
It is. That one I'm not going to sit here and go fake. I mean, I'm like, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. That's a weird video. I mean,
That is.
what if they actually saw that and tracked it land and somebody got it on video and many years later it leaked out?
Yeah. Plus, I mean, these are military, or at least it appears to be military. And if this was fake, they would have had to got all
It
those
would have,
people together.
yeah, and costumes, and then make that UFO, which wouldn't be impossible. I'm just saying some of these would take some money.
Yes. All right, man. Well, let's move on to the next subject here, unless you have anything else you
No,
want to add. All right.
no, I'm good.
All right. Next topic will be cryptozoology. Now, of course, you have tons of cryptozoology out there. Everything from the thunderbird to giant squid to Mothman, you name it.
I just want to say here, I did an interview with Vic Kundiff, and he does Bigfoot shows and also Dogman shows. And I interviewed him about his Dogman show, and so you should check out him.
Yeah, link will be
Vic
down in the
Kundiff.
description.
Vic Kundiff. And he's a great guy. He let me interview him. I probably have listened to 50 different witnesses off. He's got over 100 videos of people coming on. Most of them are people coming on actually telling their stories about dogmen. And dogmen is something that not everyone's familiar with, but so many different people are seeing that happen. I just had to give a shout out to him because he's got a really cool show. If you've never heard, if you like Bigfoot, you've probably heard of the Dog Man. But if you haven't, go check out stuff like that because evidently a lot of people are seeing this Dog Man and their stories are convincing. You know, you hear somebody talk for 30, 40 minutes about their encounter.
Right.
These either all of them are brilliant psychopathic liars, or they actually saw what they saw, and yeah, I mean it's amazing. So
And again, a link to that video will be down in the description if you want to watch that interview. And
so what do we got up in the
okay, let's transition over to
third degree screen?
that. All right, let's switch over to that. Okay,
Third degree TV.
so I was perusing the internet today, and I ran across this video, and the description says, "Is that a juvenile Bigfoot digging in the cemetery?"
Wow, weird. Okay, that's abnormal. You got me.
Now, I don't know if this is a Bigfoot, but I'm going to tell you now, if I was in the cemetery and I seen this would totally freak me out. So let's just go over to it and watch the video. It's going to be kind of hard to see at first because they're using their phone wrong, but they do zoom in on this and you'll be able to see a much closer picture of it.
Oh, I agree. People, you can turn your phone sideways, guys. It takes a better video. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, here we go. It's a mother and the child together. Right here. It's very hard to see. But it's going to go through it again, so don't worry. It's going to be bigger. I might even throw a picture-in-picture on this just so you can see this better.
Yeah, like a still.
Yeah, we're going to go to the zoomed-in part here. All right, here we go. Check that out. It's just digging away, man.
Oh, what's it digging up?
What's even better is there's a photo at the end showing the area that was being dug.
No way. This shows the hole?
There it is.
Oh, no. And there's sites there? The
Yep.
thing was digging in somebody's grave? Because I was thinking it was too close and there were no graves where he was digging. Are those The footstones or whatever?
Yeah, they're flat, so they're to the ground. And you can see
Oh, that's weird.
there's the walkway right here. And you can see that the walkway is right here.
Yes.
So, and the size of that mound visually, looks right here. To me, it does. I mean, if you were to
And
move up
look,
to it.
just think if you had to do that by hand, that would, you know what I'm saying?
I
That's a pretty
know.
massive little hole, you know?
And it's one handed. It's only
Right,
doing it
which is
one handed.
weird. Weird again, right?
So let's watch that again
Yeah,
in a
that's.
zoomed here.
And this is not a Mandela effect, by the way. This is
Yes.
cryptozoology. Not
Cryptozoology.
something. The Mandela effect probably did not put this creature into existence. This is something else. It could have came from another reality, but that isn't a Mandela effect.
Right. Look at the length of the arms. It's such a strange.
That's weird. It's thin, and that's his
Yeah.
digging hand, right? Because it's
Right.
making that motion. His left arm, right?
That would
His left.
his right.
You're right. You're right.
But it's
So
just weird. Maybe a stick in the hand or something. If you notice, maybe this is what we're seeing down in this area, some kind of tool.
would it almost look like a hand scoop? You know, the way the actual hole is.
Right.
But I mean, it's like, is that a monkey? A monkey wouldn't do that, would he? I don't know.
No.
I thought I saw a tail, but it was actually looks like his arm. That's actually a really weird and a juvenile Bigfoot. You know what? That's probably a good guess if it's something not. Do you know where this is taken?
The only information I got, by the way, this video is property of Sasquatch Central. Be sure to check them out because this is some amazing footage. I don't know where they got it from, but the only description they gave was young ladies out for a drive during their work break came across this amazing scene. Now I've got to say that the person talking in this sounds like a child with its mother in the car. It does not sound like two ladies out on a lunch break. If I back
You
this
never
up,
know. I've heard some women that sounded almost like kids because their voice was so, you know.
well, let's have a listen and see. Now I understand that you can't hear this, AT, but this is more for them.
Okay. Yeah, I'll re-watch that because you can get a lot from the audio.
See? She's
The child just said, "What is that?" Or what I think is a child. Okay. So there we go. There was the audio. There was a little bit more before that. If you want to go watch the full video, it's 2 minutes 10 seconds. It's at Sasquatch Central and titled "Is That a Juvenile Bigfoot Digging in Cemetery?"
So my question is that in a place that has chimpanzees that are indigenous to the area? You know, because it looks ape-like. But I mean, you know, is the simplest answer is that a wild ape, or I'm sorry, more like a chimpanzee? I guess I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's supposed to be a small young juvenile.
Right.
But you know, that's my question because it's too hard to tell if that is a regular known animal or a crypto from that distance. But it's strange.
Yeah, it's so weird, man.
And
I mean,
the hole is an extra touch too, right? That
oh
they got the
yeah,
picture. Yeah.
I love how they went back and took a picture of the
Right.
hole.
It doesn't prove anything,
No, we don't.
but it's just adds to the weirdness that hey, look, here's the hole where the thing was even digging.
Yes, sir. Man, oh man. Well, just unless some more information comes out about this, all we know for now is two people were in a car and they saw something weird and they videoed it and they came back and took a picture of the hole. And that's all we know. But man, what an interesting case.
I want to go on to our next subject because this blows my mind that people are not looking at it. They are looking at it, but most people are not, and they refuse to believe it.
Yes, sir. We're talking about the space station hoaxes. Yes. Let's move on to that one, shall we? All right, let me transition over here. All right. So, some of you may know, some of you may not know. Space station. You know, the International Space Station. What are we looking at? Is it 100% real? Is it half real? Is it completely fake? Is it done on green screen? Are they on wires? And there's been evidence to back these things up. And we're hoping we're going to be able to show you a little bit of that today. So, what you may or may not know about some of these. So we're just going to see what we can bring up, okay? What do you know about it, AT?
Well, after looking into how, the question of whether or not we went to the moon, that was out for a long time. I've seen a lot of eyebrow raising things going on with that. And I guess it was after the flat earth started coming out that I started watching how the space station may be faked. And I can tell you there's so many examples of how this is like just movies they're putting up there, and it's of every type you can think of. The astronauts will mess up and say they're really like they'll name a state they're in or something. You can see graphic glitches. Though, look at them, they're all on harnesses. I mean, I'm almost just 100% convinced. Look at that.
Watch this guy pull on his lower area right here. They're going to show it again in a minute. Sorry, my mouth was
Yeah,
in the way there.
maybe his harness was riding up, you know.
He doesn't even grab his clothes. He's grabbing in the air. And this other guy in the background looks like he's grabbing something.
And guys, everybody needs to look at everything like this you see on TV. Nothing. I almost challenge you to find something real. I mean, it's to that point, and I think I live in a totally different reality than most people. Because now here's something I just thought of that I need to raise. Just because the space station's fake doesn't mean the earth is flat.
That's right.
But I do have to say that, and it is the point is to get you. If they lied about the moon and they're lying about the space station, yeah, something's up here. But anyway, go ahead because I know there's 1,000 hours of examples of how this is all fake.
Watch that right hand just grab something and just yank him over. It's enough to pull him that way. Now, I just want to break this scene down here from the beginning, just so everybody can understand what's happening. This Yahoo decides he's going to do a flip.
Whee!
Right. And he's like trying to help him because you see that it's not working real well. He's getting hung up. This guy is grabbing an invisible something.
He should have practiced his harness more, his harness flipping.
Yes, like the bald guy. And then she's pointing up. Look at her. She points up like, hey, look, there it is. He's standing up trying to steady him. This is just, of course, just observation. This guy's like, I wish he would just get it done and over with. And I'm going to help him out because I can see that he's still having problems. So I'm just going to reach over and just very gently grab that wire and give him a little yank and pull him over towards me there. This is probably the best evidence I have ever seen of
And at the
wires.
same time, the other guy is messing with his.
Yeah, he's like
The
holding,
guy in the
yeah.
yellow striped shirt.
He's like making sure, his is nice and tidy.
He's like, my harness is riding up.
Yeah, I don't want that to be seen just in case. So he's like, yeah, I better check on mine.
I think I've actually seen better. The ones where the guy obviously almost wants everybody to know he's faking, and he bends over to pick something up, and you can actually see where the harness wire was like making his shirt lift up at 2 points on his back.
Right.
You've seen that one, right?
I have seen that one.
That guy, I'm telling you, I think he purposely was trying to mess up. Or he's a complete moron.
Oh, well, it's like some of the use of water. I mean, okay, if I'm on, I'm flying above the earth at, what was it, 17,000 miles an hour, whatever it is, and I've got all this electronics around me,
Yeah, and
are you gonna
like if some of it gets what do you call it, electrified by the water? What am I trying to say?
short circuit?
If it's short circuited, we might die.
Right. But these guys are just, yay, everything's fine. I'm going to brush my teeth in outer space.
I'm going to spit this water out,
And, or we're going to make little, colored, we're going to put dye in them and let them just float around and let them hit the walls. It doesn't matter.
What's he highlighting there?
I believe this guy is saying that there was some kind of button that the guy's pressing. You can see him reach up and give it a little tap. Also, before that, there was a woman pressing the button. Let me see if I can. I'm not sure what he's saying because I don't have the sound on.
I think that the same law should apply. Just because you see them floating around in a little box does not mean they're actually in space. Just like if you see a UFO video, it's weird and all, but it doesn't prove the phenomena.
Right.
Because of what we can do now. Okay, just like the military has advanced weaponry, they've always had more advanced computers than we had. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They have the best stuff before we do, always. And in the really, really secret stuff, maybe no telling how far ahead of us. But trust me, this all could be faked. I mean, come on, look at the movies.
Look at the harness.
Yeah, they are using tech to do this. I've seen another video where they were using VR to fake this. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have seen that.
I'm talking about they're using good tech to pull this off, and it's just freaking, graphics, CGI. It's especially when you have the money and the funds to do it. They're saying his hat would have just been a VR object. Oh, I hope can you find that, because he was reaching out trying to find an object that wasn't there.
Yeah, right there. There it is.
Is that
That's it. He grabs nothing.
Oops, the ball or whatever didn't appear right. But to him, it was there, so he picked it up and put it to the side. Trickery.
Yep. Devil's advocate.
Deception.
Unless it's something that we could not see. Like
lies. What was it? One of those little bitty ball bearings or something? I mean, what could it be that he...
I know, it's highly improbable.
Was he swatting at a fly? What was he doing?
I mean, they use high definition, high quality cameras on the ISS. So,
Have you seen the ones that almost all of them were doing like the Mason signs?
yes,
I mean, there's
mercy.
so many things about the space station alone that should make everybody go, huh? But they don't want to. They
Uh,
want to live in this. They don't want their world. They want to be lied to. It's so ingrained that they can't handle it.
Let me just real quick say who this video is by. It says feel free to upload and share. This is by Elohi Plasma. In case you're wanting to go watch any of his stuff, evidently he's very good at what he does. And by the way, if people ask how do they do the hair, then look at her hair; it's floating around. Isn't it quite possible she's just hanging upside down?
It's totally possible.
I mean, they just don't seem to. I don't. I mean, some of these things I don't know how they do. Maybe
Well,
this is done
yeah,
with the
but
airplane.
right, and there's all kinds of theories about that, but I think the bottom line is, could they fake this?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they can. This can
Could
be faked.
they? Could the government with money, could anybody with tech and money do this? Yes. And it's not done well.
There she goes, pressing the button. Evidently, I don't know.
Do you agree with me? There's so many mistakes and stuff that there's kind of, you know how if you steal and you steal again, you just get comfortable and you don't even think you're stealing anymore. It's like, if a kid does that, he'll keep doing it, and he after a while he doesn't think he's doing nothing wrong. They're getting
Right,
complacent. They're getting complacent. That's what I wanted to say.
right.
I think. I think.
I think that here's my best guess on this. If you can make a movie, okay, and make it look real, like their own, in space doing a spacewalk, whatever that movie with Sandra Bullock, I can't remember the name of it, comes to mind. Um, if they can do that with, what is it, 10 million, $12 million, who's to say these guys who have a basic, endless supply of money, way more than that, couldn't come up with a way to do it live.
Well, if they're faking not having to go up there, then they've got a heck of a budget to do this with,
Dude,
right? If they didn't actually have to send anything into space, then and they've been getting all this money over all these years, they have a heck of a budget to work with.
yeah,
It's
they
the
do.
profit margin is insane if they're faking all this. Okay, so let's get down to some more examples, just if you don't mind.
Oh,
But I just want to say, because I think that's what people need to see that haven't seen this yet. It's the repetition, it's the number of different ways this is obviously something faked in a production. That's it's the same way with almost all of these modern conspiracies, like the hand signs that celebrities are doing.
right.
If you just watch one or two, you're like, oh, they're just, doing a sign, come on. But when you see that they've been doing it back in the 40s and 50s, and like almost all the big celebrities have pictures of them doing these three or four different signs, it's the evidence just compounds on itself. It
Yes.
really does. So go ahead and show another anything.
I've never even seen this specific example here, but this guy literally is grabbing the wire or trying to keep himself. It's like
Right.
he
He
can't get his hand around it or
he
something.
didn't even practice a lot. He had no aptitude for the harness to pull this off. And look at him. He's like, I'm a tuck and roll.
Right. I mean, he has to actually grab the
Okay,
bookshelf to pull himself.
her hair, that's ridiculous, bro. That's another thing. Not only do we have harnesses and green screens and CGI, they're teased this woman's hair up, and I think it was you that was talking about why would they even have long hair? If I was a
Right.
woman, I would have short hair. I might even have a buzz cut just because I was up in space, but I would definitely at least have short hair.
Yeah, because I
Why
mean, do
would
you want to look like that? Who's going to take you
and look,
serious?
how much money does it cost to wash your hair when it's that long? Because it costs a lot of money to bring water up there, unless they're making water in the space station now. I mean, I don't. You know what I'm trying to say? Seems like it would costing us a lot of money for having long hair.
Ma-
In this world that we live in, that should be a rule. They have to have no longer than an inch or something. You know?
Right. And who's to say now that they can make photorealistic objects, all right,
That
allegedly,
could be an overlay.
right? Her
I mean,
hair could be CGI.
a really good overlay that CGI. I mean, it definitely could be, and especially if you think about somebody with a lot of budget and better tech and better computers than anything on the market.
Right. What is it they say? Anything we have now is at least 30 years behind what is
And that
possible.
all depends on what level and what department. I mean, really believe they have hundreds and hundreds of years on us in some of those places. But 30, I think at least for your just normal military. And then finally, they'll let us have it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
GPS, the internet. The internet was born by the military, by the way.
Yes, it was. Absolutely.
So
So,
what else we got? Her hair is ridiculous, but that was my rant. Thank you for letting me talk about the hair. That I mean, it doesn't fit in with reality. Cut your hair. If you want to go up there, get cut your hair. It's going to cost a lot of money just to wash your hair. No, you can't have very, very long hair up in space. I'm sorry.
it's like they're trying to say, look, we're in space. My hair is floating.
Exactly. It's a prop.
Right.
But
It's a
it's a bad
tool.
idea. To me, it was one of the most telling. But that's just another example of the ways they're messing up here, folks. It's you know,
Look at the
that's I don't discount the flat Earth because of these kind of things. It's why would they fake this? You know what I mean? I'm
right.
not gonna say I'm 100% flat Earth, but I know the argument, you know what I mean? And
Right. And that's for a different show. We're going to go into that one real
totally,
soon.
totally.
One thing I'm noticing about this specific scene is now, one I tell you a really good test you can do for yourself is watch the videos without audio. Make up your own mind about what you're seeing. And, if someone else is pointing something out to you, you become, adapted or influenced by that person's opinion on what's happening. Just just turn off the sound, watch it, see what's happening. And to me, right now, what I'm seeing is that cord looks like it's just kind of hanging on a wire or something, and it's sliding, from one area. Let's see how it lags behind and swings back and forth.
Yeah, there's something just off.
It just looks like it's on a little track above them to make it look, it's just weird. I don't know. I mean, when you watch something like this, just keep an eye out and just, make up your own mind about something. Don't let somebody else. I mean, don't take my word for anything. I'm not an expert in anything. I mean, all I do is sit back and look at stuff and try to figure it out as I go. And
Hey, I'll go ahead and say on this one, I just want people to start questioning how much of their reality is actually painted by this kind of thing. Open your eyes. You live in a fake world if you believe the story and all the history and everything else they put out there. Everything is planned to control us. And this is such a big thing that most people couldn't handle. I'm surprised this many people are actually realizing all of this.
There's some of your masonry symbolism there.
Yeah, and it's
Interlaced fingers.
all the time. I mean, every captain or whatever for every mission, I think does a Mason sign.
It's quite odd, I've got to say. And
What
I'm
does
not
that mean?
huge.
They got
Yeah.
members of a secret club up there sworn to secrecy, and you got a bunch of secret members of a secret society up there keeping secrets. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it just nails the whole thing in when you realize how many astronauts are in the Freemasons. And
Unbelievable.
I bet you, X, that's a sweet deal too. Get paid all that money to act like you're in the, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
just disappear for a few months.
I mean,
Don't
well,
see your
think about it.
family.
They say, hey, you know what? I'll pay you a ton of money.
Oh, you get
Well,
to say you're an astronaut? I mean, who couldn't have a good career after that? I mean, on your resume? Are you kidding me?
yeah, and
I've
don't
been to
and just don't
space,
tell
bro.
anybody.
I've been to space, bro. You better hire me. Don't you want to say you have an astronaut working for you? I mean, come on.
Well, I think that, man. I think that's about as much time as we got, man.
Good deal. Well, I had a good time.
Oh, I did too.
I was just like we always talk. And that's what we were telling you guys in front of the show. We do this kind of thing anyway, and we had the idea, hey, let's kind of make it a show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it worked out pretty good. And if you like what you saw, hit that upvote down there and let us know. Hit that like button.
Yeah, we got to know you like it, or we got to know if we're just terrible. We can't fix it if we don't know. But yeah, if you enjoyed the show and you like to hear just two guys talking about random weirdness going on, yeah, and leave us a comment because I'll interact with you guys there. It's kind of the fun of having a channel, so I'm always trying to check the comments as often as I can.
Well, I'm Exhibit X, and that's AT over there. And we'll hope you join us again if we do the third degree again. Check you next time.